For any of us who experienced betrayal, one of the things that I needed to learn most, find most, I didn't know how it was going to happen, was how do I learn to turn up in the world and trust again? When you're betrayed, whether it's from narcissists or over a long period of time, it creates trauma and makes it really difficult to turn up in the world, because I heard it said that actually trust is what everything runs on, right? You trust that the bus driver isn't going to pull out a gun and point it in your face. It's whatever. You trust that your accountant isn't going to run off with all your money. You trust that those people you love are not going to hurt you in ways which appear to have been designed to hurt. But when it happens, it's like, what do? I heard this amazing talk from a woman who speaks about post-betrayal syndrome. What she says is that the denial that we face when suddenly confronted with what's happened is totally understandable, right? It's so overwhelming for our brains that we can't possibly comprehend all of the stuff. So we just say, no, it can't possibly be. There's like 5 stages of recovery from trauma or from betrayal. It's denial, anger. Hang on, can I remember all of them? Denial, anger, bargaining. It's like, no, it didn't happen. Then it's bargaining, and then it's like, yeah, it happened, but okay, I can see, and these are the stages of recovery from it. And then there's anger. It's like, it's not fair. It's kind of not being able to contain, or even, for me, what I would do is, I've never really been angry at other people. All of the anger I've experienced in my life is predominantly fueled inwards. Certainly as an anorexic, it's one of the things I've done. It's like, you can be perfectly present, you can be perfectly presented in any situation. And if anything comes up, you just channel everything in. It fucking destroys you inside. But it's a way of coping in the world. It's a way that I learned early on to cope. Anorexia is about life, it's about fear, it's also about food. Food is an easy way to control, but anorexia is a more general term. It's being terrified of life. And so many of us, many people that I know, do not have eating disorders, but they have a form of anorexia, which makes it difficult to turn up in the world because they had trauma, because they had abuse. Those people who betrayed them have made it difficult for them to turn up in the world. That's understandable. It alters our biology. It changes the shape, this blew me away, changes the shape of our brains. It changes the makeup of our microbiome. That's the thing that runs all of our health. It's kind of, the reason, looking back historically, that I've always grabbed carbs, I've always been kind of wanting carbs more than anything, whether that's sugar or just starches or whatever it is. It's because as a scapegoat, as an empath, as someone recovering from trauma, as someone with trauma, let's just say, before I did any of this work, the fear comes up and the heart goes off, the brain starts running. You're using huge amounts of energy in order to cope with any situation that's going on, whether or not it's just an everyday situation or whether you're being chased down by narcissists. Both happen. I like to think, is there evil in the world? Yeah, there's fucking evil in the world. I've experienced it. This idea that there's no evil in the world is completely insane. I've experienced it. Are people evil? Are people consumed with doing and obsessed with doing evil activities, evil actions? Yeah, 100%. I know lots of those people who will only wish to cause me harm because they're heinously fucking damaged from their childhoods. Okay, that's fine. I don't have to call them evil, but I can still say that their actions are evil. Look it up in the dictionary. It says, evil is any action which is designed or carried out with spite and malice to inflict some sort of pain on another. Yeah, there's evil all the time. It's an intention. People want to hurt me. People have hurt me intentionally because they were damaged early on. All the rest is kind of, that's what I'm trying to recover from. So that's one of the first things I had to come to terms with in order to trust. There are people out there that want to hurt me. This isn't fucking some sort of wrong theory. We look back, and my friends, in support group are amazing for this. I will say something to them and they're like, dude, you literally have evidence of people actively trying to hurt you. As an empath, for me, that's really difficult to come to terms with. And in terms of, learning to trust in the world, I have to wrap my head around the idea that there are people that want to hurt other people just because they want to do it. That's their natural default position. I'm like, how can we turn up in the world? How can we make it better? How can we make it easier? How can we make sure that everybody, or how can we make a world where everybody is happy and gets along? The answer is we can't, because there's a lot of people who desire to hurt people. It's like, we can create something beautiful, but we have to understand that there's always going to be people that come in and look to destroy it. This is one of the things that, I really, in terms of looking at people's energy, that thing which is like, look at people's vibration, look at, because that's a way of, can I trust this person or not? But it's a bit woolly, it's like, look at their vibration. What does that mean? But if I can look, there's two types of significance in the world, I was told. One is where you build something, you create something. Many of us who are empath, a lot of anorexics I know, a lot of recovering anorexics, whether it's food, whether it's just life, are amazingly creative. And what stops our creativity is the fear. But it's like, we want to build, we want to create, we want that, that joy which is found, I don't know, somewhere around here, and just to put out into the world what we love, to create what it is we love. The fear stops that. But then the opposite side of that, you can get significance from that, because you build something and people recognize it. It doesn't necessarily have to be a bad significance, an artist who creates a painting and puts it out there and people think it's beautiful and she has a wonderful sense of satisfaction from creating something beautiful and that other people are looking at it. Awesome. But then on the other side of the coin, you have people that find their significance in the world and I guess are trying to reconcile their trauma by destroying, by looking at that painting that she has said and that she has created and saying, it's shit, or even worse. It's kind of, it's all right. He would have done it better. She would have done this. And it's kind of that, basically what they're doing is they're destroying what has been created, or they're sucking the energy from it, because creation is a form of energy. As we create, we are using energy to bring something forth. And those who are narcissistic, sociopathic, psychopathic, damaged in a way that they're not coming back in this lifetime, feed off energy of others. That means destroying what has been created because they need to feed off it. I'm not saying it's bad. I mean, this is, when I say is there evil in the world, the question that comes off of that is, well, is there good and is there bad? It's like, I don't know, if I can sit on a chair or I can hit someone around the head with it, which one is good and which one is bad? Well, if there's a tiger running towards me, I don't want to sit on the chair. I want to actually pick it up and use it around the tiger's head. Neither is good or bad. It's the intention that I'm using the thing with. So I think if I do an action, is it good or bad? The only way I can decide that is, what's my intention? Am I trying to use it in a creative way to heal, to help others? Or am I coming from my own shadow and wanting to hurt someone else? I think this is why it's taken so long to get back on video. It's because I was bitter, my God. And also, you look back at some of my videos, a lot of them are victim mentality. Me with, and what's coming out of me is that victimized part of me. Nothing wrong with that, but that's not where I want to create from. It's kind of because I'm still angry at the people who did whatever. For people who have been victimized, it's perfectly, I was going to say normal. No, it's necessary to feel like a victim. There's fucking gurus who no. This, literally, they're like, just make it disappear. It's like, you can't, especially if it's trauma. You can't just say, oh, it's gone. I like that guy, Jim Rohn, who was like, you can't walk into a garden where there's loads of weeds and go, there are no weeds, there are no weeds, there are no weeds, and then open your eyes and expect there to be no weeds. That's insane. If I've had trauma, I have had trauma, and I've had to recover from trauma, and I've had to let myself be however I needed to be. And it fucking looked awful. Looking back at some of those videos, it's like, it's really painful to watch. Was painful to watch. Now I can accept myself for whatever my journey needed to be. And that's, one of the things of learning how to turn up in the world is to be however, I don't know, as I was early on. How can I actually be the authentic Mark? When I had lots of gaslighting, narcissistic abuse, it's kind of, I molded myself into someone that I wasn't in order to survive. And this was fucking decades. And that's totally understandable. Do I feel bad or wrong for doing it? Not in the slightest. It's the way I learned to survive. And much of my recovery in these last couple of years is in asking myself, well, actually, is this true? Someone would say something to me and I'd have this kind of, set piece in my head I've kind of said for years. And then I'm like asking myself, is that actually true, or is it just a fucking defense mechanism? Many of these things are defense mechanisms. And it's not because I'm with narcissists anymore. The majority of narcissists no longer exist in my life. I cut out 99% of everybody in my life about 2 years ago. And extreme, one of the best things I did. One of the most painful things I did too, because actually I had to spend a lot of time by myself. And I think that is the other thing. It's learning to trust me, learning to uncover those places where I was damaged early on and later on, and recently, in order to heal those. It sounds like such a cliche, but it's kind of like heal. What I mean is like reconcile, no longer have denial on what happened. This is why, again, my recovery has taken so long in these past few years. I could not, and everyone I speak to now is like, you need to write a book. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea, maybe. A movie, who knows? Because, some of us have experienced betrayal, which is so extreme that even when we're confronted with the facts of it, we will just deny it. Again, that lady who created the divorce, the post-divorce syndrome. It's kind of, she said, when it hits you, you can't believe that it's actually happened. How could someone betray you like that in the way that they did? The natural reaction is to say, no, it's not possible. And then it's to go, okay, it's possible, but for all of these reasons, it's not malevolent. Because for me, as an empath, wanting to hide in the world anyway, one of the things is I just don't wish to believe, or I didn't wish to believe, that the world is as painful and that there are as many people in the world that want to cause me pain specifically, as there are. I've had to reconcile that. And I've done that by re-examining my past and the stories, or the circumstances that I went through, the stories I tell myself about those, what they mean, those parts of me which have taken literally years in order to be able to, the really young parts of me. I didn't start getting childhood memories back until recently because I shut down so early on. And it's kind of, again, totally understandable. I mean, I know so many people who can't remember their childhood because there was lots of trauma in it. I remember being in rehab and I was the only one out of 30 people, and the guy at the rehab would go, "Oh yeah, Mark, you had the perfect childhood." Upon review, without blaming anybody, without saying it was blah, 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 whoever, it was everyone who did lots of different stuff. Teachers, sure it was parents, sure it was lots of different people. As I move along my healing journey, more memories come back. And I'm like, and then I called someone and I'm like, is this normal? And they're like, that's not normal. And I remember going to a treatment center. Actually, it was a recovery center called, it was people who had survived childhood abuse. And because I wasn't beaten or raped, because I wasn't beaten or raped, I felt like a complete imposter in this room with 5 other people. And they're saying to me, Mark, the experiences that you're talking about, the things that you have been through and that you went through are so extreme that even if you don't remember being beaten or raped, you deserve to be in this room because what you're telling us is so psychologically damaging. You've earned your place. Because there is that part of me, and this is for so many of us, that have this imposter syndrome. It doesn't matter what we do, and this is so many for so many creatives. It doesn't matter what we do, we never believe that we're good enough. I've never believed I was good enough. And so I've always kind of, tried to do stuff and then shrunk back or sabotaged it. And again, I look at it and I'm like, that's perfectly normal for someone who's experienced what I experienced. And so now the question is, with this video, with anything else I do, is can I turn up in the world on video, trust, because now actually having spent a couple of years, I can better trust myself. I can better read people's energy. Are you looking to destroy? Are you looking to create? Are you helping me heal in creative ways? Are you wanting to get, into my trauma as a way to kind of, when you talk about trauma and it's, there is that, it's not in a healing way. You're doing it with someone else. And it's kind of, I've done this loads. But it's kind of, who do I want to be with? I need to be with those people who are wanting to heal, who are conscious of the need for healing, conscious of that there is a shadow. I'm conscious that I still have a shadow, that I need to heal it, and that it's a daily thing. And I think this video is coming to an end. What I'm trying to do is trying to learn how to trust myself so I can turn up in the world, read the vibration, read the actions, the intentions of others, because I've got it wrong a lot in the last couple of years, so that I can not prevent myself from getting hurt, not prevent myself from getting betrayed, but be in a position where I'm less likely to be betrayed. So I can see what the intention is for those people and these people, and I can decide who I want to be with, and I can heal and heal myself and help heal others, and then we can create something, hopefully, community, having spent 6 years alone, when the world most needs it. Because looking out right now, everything looks fucked. But I think I do go with the apocalyptimism, which is like, everything is fucked, but it's going to be okay. Or maybe it's even okay now. If I can just keep working on myself, reconciling that trauma, so I can turn up in the world and say, hey, how can I help? And I've got some projects going on, which I love. Healing project, and which I think can really make a difference. And hopefully, those of us who are on the same wavelength, who are on the same frequency, who are wanting to create healing stuff, can find each other and then do whatever we need to do. My name's Mark. This is The Emotional Alchemist. Thanks for watching.